Hey, y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm here with Squeaks.
Squeaks.
Yep. Okay. That's not. I can do that. That's not too bad. Yeah.
I feel like it's been like a little bit, since I did something special.
Well, we were
like
doing
that.
live shows for like 3 weeks, so yeah, it's been a bit since we've been recording in studios in general. Me and John were happy to be back in studios last week.
Nice.
We have a lot to cover this week. Upfronts, which is kind of an industry showing off thing of what the TV studios are working on, was this week. So we have a lot of little things from that. We got a new Assassin's Creed revealed, but I think what we're all excited to talk about, of course, is X-Men 97. I've got my X-Men shirt, which has been on every podcast for a while now, as I'm like fanning out so hard on this.
And it has not even been taken off yet, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's becoming one with me at this point.
Yeah.
So, before we get any farther, let's go ahead and get into our question of the week. What underrated comic book character deserves their own movie?
Oh, man, that's dope.
Yeah. While you're thinking about that, let me head to the fans over on our threads. Okay. We had a lot of really good suggestions. So cool. Sentry was out there. Plastic Man, that got a lot of heat. People were like digging that idea. Kazar, that's a deep cut. He's basically Marvel Tarzan. That was a good one. Nova definitely should be there already.
Dang, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Rom, Manhunter. Manhunter. God, who remembers Manhunter? Spider-Ham. Here's one for you. Adapting the Blackest Night story. So that would be interesting to do that. That's do the whole Green Lantern thing. And then my choice was Beta Ray Bill, and that seemed to be a fan favorite as well, because Beta Ray Bill needs some love.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you got?
All right. All right. I think I got a good one. Okay. I don't think anybody's thought about this, but I'm going because I think I might have heard some rumor about a potential movie, but I don't know yet. Right. This is way in the past, right? And it comes from an Image comic. Okay. You think like, oh, I'm gonna talk about Spawn, right? Because he doesn't get a movie. No, nope, not even. I'm going with Savage Dragon. Okay. So he's that
fully agree.
Guy,
Holy
right?
cow, dude! Yes, yep.
Why not? Right?
Yeah, isn't he a cop or a detective as well?
Man, I haven't picked up a Savage Dragon book. I couldn't even tell you. Probably, yeah.
The 90s for me, honestly.
Easily,
yeah,
probably, yeah.
Man, what a cool look too! Like that would be a fun one to do. God, yeah, I like that Savage Dragon. Damn,
Who plays him?
I know, I'm thinking that already. The dude from Jack Ryan. Have him play him. From the Prime's Jack Ryan.
Not the main guy, right?
Yeah, the big dude. Yeah, have the big dude.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of no, I'm thinking John Krasinski, or how do you say his name?
John Krasinski. Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah, that's Jack Ryan. You're right. Yeah, that is Jack Ryan.
Is he Jack Ryan?
I don't know, dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Just a buff guy.
We need a big buff dude. Yeah. And I only know old big buff dudes because I'm old. I'm like, yeah, Sylvester Stallone. Let's get Stallone in there.
Right. Yeah. Oh, shit. All right. Who do you got?
So mine was Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do some network news. We have a new interview coming out this week with Frank Martin. I'm going to have the interview at the end of this episode, and it's also coming out on our Geek Freaks interview podcast.
Isn't that just me and you?
That actually is fair. Yeah. And actually Martin is one of my two middle names. That's a good point. Yeah. And then we have the Patreon giveaway this week is going to be that Snowball microphone. A great microphone if you're starting a brand new podcast. It's such a good go-to. We already have it purchased and it's ready to ship. So at the end of the month, we'll pick one of our Patreon members, any one of them. It could be $1 one, and they can get that. And then we were giving away the mug from our quiz from last week, which was a real big hit. And Aaron Davies from Fandom Portal, you're winning a mug from Geek Freaks.
Nice.
Hit me up with that address, and I'll send it out to you. Which, if I remember correctly, Aaron is in Australia, so that shipping's going to suck. That's
Our conditions are we're going to have the winners start paying for the shipping fees.
I one time we did a giveaway for like 2 comics. And it was like Poland, and
oh wow, okay,
yeah, the comics were like, I don't know, I think it was like Flashpoint or something like that. It was like $12, but the shipping was $40.
My goodness,
okay, we're not doing that again. That's insane. Holy hell. Does somebody actually gonna like get on a plane with the comics in their hand? That's nuts.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh man. Okay. Let's do some news. We're going through the upfronts, guys. We're gonna be loosey-goosey on this, bouncing around. But just for the sake of starting somewhere, what are your thoughts on that Dune prophecy that was announced? I completely forgot that they were even working on this. TV series for Dune. What do you think?
Because I feel like some of our conversations right now is still Dune 2 and how great that is, and that's gonna be hitting the screen or home screen soon. So I feel like that's still in the conversation. So Dune Prophecy was something that I totally forgot about as well. Let's see how it holds up, right? How entertained we can be. This looks like Game of Thrones drama, right? It's more like the political view. So hopefully we get that little flare of action, right, here and there. It's kind of keep us hooked and maintained to continue to watch it. I think that'd be my fear of just seeing the trailer so far. So hopefully it keeps me in. I love the world, so that's already going to lock me in. But hopefully just kind of how can it prolong? I know Dune's already a 3-hour movie, but can it prolong? I don't know, 12 episodes that it's an hour long or something, or 8, whatever. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I do like the political intrigue stuff. To me, like some of the best of Game of Thrones is when it's just like Tyrion and Cersei sitting in a room having a conversation. And I think House of the Dragon kind of loses some of that. I think it's going for more dragony stuff. So it's nice that HBO also has this coming out that's like, oh yeah, it's kind of the other thing. So I'm definitely down with that. And I know that they're going to they did in the trailer, like they're like harken in, they're just like throwing out names that we already know. So I'm like, yes, if I hear Atreides, I'll be happy. So, and it looks like there's some disagreements amongst the Bene Gesserit. So the Bene Gesserit are not fully formed. This is thousands of years before the event of the movies. We might not have the technology that we have in the movies. Maybe we still have computers because the computers are wiped out before. I don't know the rules, guys, so forgive me on that. But that would be pretty cool. I don't know. I'm on board for sure.
What's something, I mean, we're big fans of this Dune thing right now, right?
Of course.
What would be something that would lose your interest? I mean, some of it is already the 10,000 years before or whatever, even years before. Right. And I feel like that happens very often when we make something that's aside from the movies. Is that still good? Do you like that? Do you think maybe a side story of like the main plot would have been better for the fact that, hey, we're giving you little canon snippet or conversations, about what's going on over here? I don't know.
That's a great point. Yeah, because Star Wars is currently doing that, right? Like they have the Mandalorian, which is a side thing that fits kind of in the already going stuff, but also they have that new thing that's going to be 1,000 years beforehand as well, where it's going to be like the birth of the Jedi. I think if it could stand on its own, I'm fine with it. Like if this is a good political drama without me having to constantly be told harken in and Atreides stuff, then I think it's a good shot. And I think that's something that like we see with Disney Plus or whatever, where they're like so dependent on the fact that you're already a fan of the Avengers, so you're gonna watch this. No, I need something that's worth watching on its own, and hopefully we get that with this.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I just feel like we hear that a lot when it comes to these side things.
I just don't know if they know what to do with it. I think everybody knows the Dune story better than, it's been around before Star Wars. So it's well treaded already. Like you have to get away from that timeline to be able to tell any news stories. Probably.
Because this is a whole new news story, right? Like okay. So I read the second book. I read the second book. Yeah. The next ones were about his children.
Right.
So is there anything that's kind of talking about this prequel?
Or I believe so. Fresh? I believe it's pulling from one of them, like called Sisterhood or whatever. Okay. That references back to this. Okay. I forget what the name of that book is, but I do believe a lot of this is pulling from another book. But because it's so far away, even if you change a story over there, it's not going to necessarily affect the story that we're at with the main movies.
Okay.
So they can kind of play around with it a little bit. Like even with the Jedi one that we're talking about with Star Wars, if they make it to where like, oh, there was Jedi, Sith, and then like, I don't know, Mung Beans or whatever, a third faction that does something different. Who cares? Yeah, they got killed off 1,000 years after that. That's still way off from where we're at. So play around with it,
Okay.
We got Mortal Kombat 2 coming out in October 2025. Ooh. The last one released during the pandemic, so I feel like it gets no credit, and that's crazy. Because it's
I don't feel like because of the pandemic. Oh, that's where we're a little different. I think it's kind of trash at some points.
It's as good as I expect a Mortal Kombat movie to be.
Okay. Which is very not expecting much. And so that's good. Yeah, I mean, are you like at all looking for this? Do you think they improved from it? Do you think,
yeah, they added the, I can't remember his name for the life of me right now. The guy from The Boys, they added him in there as Cage. So I'm like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm on board with that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And then after Shogun, Toranaga from Shogun is in this now, or he was in it from the first. Now he's back for this one. So it's like he's even cooler to me now. I can't remember any names right now, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of things in the Mortal Kombat, the first movie, that I didn't care for. One of them was, if I remember correctly, Jax getting his arms was like this this power, something, whatever. But the killing was cool. The fighting was cool. Sub-Zero and Scorpion were pretty badass, especially the actor that plays Sub-Zero or Scorpion, which I can't even think of his name either now. So we're gonna be forgetting names all day.
Yeah. It's a good theme for the episode.
But hopefully, like, I don't know, some of the corny shit or just whatever kind of goes away. I don't know.
Ideally, that'd be the case. One of my biggest complaints from the first one is it felt like they tried to limit it to like a cave as much as possible to try to bring the budget down a little bit. Now that we know we're going to go to the theaters, unless we get another pandemic before 2025, who knows? But ideally, we're going to go to the theaters for this one. Hopefully, they're like, okay, let's increase the budget. It seems like that with the casting. So I'm hoping that the budget went up as well.
Yeah.
You're the Mortal Kombat guy. Where's the story going from here?
Man, I don't know, because they added this character, the new guy, which is a made up character, which I was like, that's something I don't know, really care about, because I feel like I had no feelings for this guy. And then he has this like medallion thing that gave him armor. That was like, man, that's so fucking ridiculous. What I would like to see is like a Quan Chi, a guy with all like pretty much the white white makeup or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of get into like his story of this magic where he could rise a army of dead people, essentially. I would like to see that. And then maybe like at the end of that one, have like the Raiden kind of start helming the godlike throne.
I would love them to expand on Raiden, because he's just got such a good profile. He's so cool.
Yeah.
He's been around like Sub-Zero. He's one of those like OG people that even people barely play the game like myself recognize and love. So
for sure. Something like that. I'm like just kind of trying to remember multiple games, and I feel like that's happened multiple times. So I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
With this being somewhat successful, do you think Street Fighters has a chance of coming back as a movie as
well? Man.
I almost think it would be easier and maybe more wanted, because I think you could take like the Fast and the Furious vibes and make it into a Street Fighter.
Oh man, that's fucking a turn on. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know, man. As long as they stay true to the characters, because I think that's what we're going to care about the most, right? You got to give us
Blanca's the hardest one, in my opinion. Like he's the one that's not,
but like for me, we're going to really critique physical appearance for the men and the women. So
of course,
as long as they kind of build that, and then obviously some of that's like not just realistic in a way, whatever. But I feel like that's toned down with the Street Fighter 6 a tiny bit for some of the characters. But I think as long as you get the characters true to what we know, what we always played with, I think the rest will just come for pretty easy. I mean, it's a basic story of Bison. Bison. Yeah. I mean, doing his thing with his league, so.
But doesn't that seem like something that would be a Fast and Furious thing? Like, oh, there's the biggest race in the world. Yeah. And we could get there and win this kind of prize money. And like, there's like actual people that are going to try to cheat and stuff. Make that a Street Fighter movie. I would be so down.
That's perfect for the first movie setup. And then the second one could turn into like, oh, Bison's really just trying to do a global takeover,
Exactly.
Like this, it's there. Man. Yeah. Damn, I was thinking about something about the Fast and the Furious just now. And now you threw me off. You got me turned on about like making a whole plot for 1 and 2 now. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Oh man. Stuff. Oh yeah, exactly. Now I remember. So you said it, which was my joke with Cobra Kai. Okay, this is what my thing was. It's like, hey, I just broke into your house and slaughtered your family and robbed all your bank accounts, and then you're like, fuck that, let's settle it on the mat. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. You're like, what the hell, bro?
Well, that's M. Bison trying to take over the world. Like, I'll see you in the ring. No, get the military. Why do we always do that?
The military couldn't do it, but damn it, if a woman that like shows off like her whole legs like Chun-Li, and if the military can't do it, she can do it.
Exactly. What's E Honda doing? He's just chilling out, eating something big. Get that boy out there. Start swinging that arm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so Mortal Kombat 2, October 2025. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, but now I want a Street Fighter movie too. We got a little bit more look at The Last of Us. Really no big update, but the images they give us are straight up like mimicking the game. So that is cool to see them doing that.
I do have to say, I heard something about Pedro Pascal.
Spill the tea.
Don't know if it's true. Okay. But I did hear that his stuff he's done like his acting basically for season 2 already.
That's too soon. That's not good.
I mean, I think we know what's going to happen. So God. I don't know how true that is, but it's just a little something that I was reading earlier today, and I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna do it.
I need to sit down and play the game. I never played it, but Daniel spoiled everything as he went along. So.
Yeah. So what do you think? Pedro Pascal is out of this thing. Is it keeping you locked in?
It's going to be hard. I don't know. Pedro, like, it's so funny that guy does not, I mean, he's amazing, but he doesn't work as much as everybody thinks he works. Like, he's not really in The Mandalorian a whole lot. He's a voice actor, essentially. And then for this, like, they're using him for all the advertisement for season 2, and it's like, he ain't going to be there the whole time. Yeah. So,
you think they prolong it a little bit to try to keep him there? Or
I definitely
keep the
think
audience there. Yeah, because this is something that happens very quickly in the second game. So, almost like not as fast as his daughter in the first one, but
of course, yeah.
It's pretty quick. Yeah.
It would be a good shock value to get people to tune in, but I think they might have a steep drop off too for those who aren't familiar with it. You know, like my parents loved the show, but they were kind of just blown away that it was a video game story in the first place. I'm like, yeah, video games actually have like good stories. Yeah, it's not just Mario jumping on stuff.
And does Bella Ramsey keep the show? Can she keep it going?
Can she carry the show herself?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, I really think she does best when she's bouncing off of somebody. So I don't know necessarily full story wise, but maybe Pedro's brother. You know, there's going to be people around her. We'll have to see.
That's true. Yeah, Pedro's brother's a big part of that one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then there's that love interest too, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It's just something about Joel, right? Like that father-daughter thing. That's just me being father-daughter. But
but that's the identify. There's a lot of people tuning in because they identify with that, and then when it's going to be taken away, it's like, But let's not forget that we're going to have a father-son story coming up eventually. Hopefully, it'll be announced next year. God of War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they announced that they're working on that, so we have a while on that one. But
man, I could just imagine the cinematics for that bad boy.
I hope they release it in theaters.
Yeah.
If they did like the premiere, like the 1 hour, premiere or whatever in theaters, I'm buying a ticket just to watch that first episode because seeing big old Kratos, oh man,
dude, just give me like a close up of his eye with the paint on it, and then like zoom out, and I'm just gonna, oh god.
And in the snowy tundra, and just like snow's like hiding him immediately.
What do you think? Do we start with God of War, like original Kratos?
No, I think they're going to go with the 2018 one. I think that's what what they do. Because I think that way, like when you play, because I never played the old ones. I only played from 2018.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah.
But they gave you a lot of the story. I mean, of course, you told me the story too. But they gave you a lot of story in game, so you kind of understood what was going on.
Yeah.
He's definitely not happy with Zeus. We get it.
Yeah, because all he has to do in like this movie, right? Like is like what he did with the newer series is pick up those old chains that he had, the 2 blades. Yeah. And then everybody just in the crowd is just going to go splurge,
I was one of the, there were a lot of players, I'm sure, like me, that just started with the 2018 version. So when he picked up the 2 chains, like, oh yeah, I know he's a big fan of those, but like, I mean, my axe, I think hits a little harder. So I'm going to stick with the axe. I'm sure there's a lot of other players who were like, nope, axe is done. It goes away now.
I'm like, oh God, I got to use the restroom real quick. I saw those blades.
The spear in the second game was my go-to. As soon as I got that spear, and then you you trick it out to where you could like do dashes and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was incredible. Netflix, they confirmed Happy Gilmore 2, so that's happening. We talked about it in the past, but we know for sure that's happening. I think this is a big move here. Not a lot of people are really talking about it, but they just secured the rights to air 2 NFL games every Christmas Day for the next 3 years. I think if they can make a tradition, I mean, think about how important football is to. Yeah, I know, right? Netflix. Yeah,
it's so weird. Yeah.
And think of how important football is for Thanksgiving. Frankly, it's the only part I really gave a crap about because Cowboys play every time.
Yeah,
but if they make a tradition out of it, like that's so perfect. You're going to the in-laws, you throw the game on in the corner so you have something to watch while you're talking to the in-laws.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think that's a good move for them. They could really actually kind of create a new American tradition. And if Netflix has that secured rights, that's gonna be a big bump for them.
Man, I think it's so wild that everybody's just fighting for this football, because now football's just scattered everywhere. It was on Prime, it was on Peacock, I think, at one time, and now it's on Netflix. Still on Peacock. Like it kind of makes the average person a little pissed off, right? You're used to something that's watching on just basic cable, and now it's like, man, how does you can't even watch something that used a Christmas game that was just normal, right?
Yeah,
I think it's kind of BS, and I mean, I have these things, so it's whatever. But for the average person, I feel them. I think it's bullshit.
My counter to that, when I hear that from the average person, aka the older person who doesn't really go a lot of streaming services, right? Mm-hmm. Is you still have the same amount of games on a Sunday. These are games that are not in your region or would not be in your region or the region locked, so that you're not able to watch them anyways. So like they're games that would be airing on Sunday, but you wouldn't be able to see them. So now you have Thursday, you have Monday night, you have, whatever, other places too.
Yeah, but if you think about it, Thanksgiving and I can't think of Christmas. I know basketball is for sure Christmas, but let's just say Thanksgiving, for example. That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say that's like really out of the realm because that is like almost a tradition already.
That's what I'm saying is I think they can make Christmas the tradition as well. Because for me, I mean, I'll watch basketball. I mean, I hate to be this guy, but I only watch basketball when the Kings are in the playoffs.
Yeah, which is not often.
Which is, so I haven't really played. I haven't watched a lot of basketball in the last 20 years. But yeah, with the NFL having Christmas Day games, I already know that's what I'm going to be doing on Christmas Day. I watch my Christmas movies that morning. Boom, ready to go.
Yeah.
And Netflix getting into the sports field in general is a little weird. They got the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, which I haven't been this hyped for a boxing match in a little bit. The Mayweather fight, the last big one, was that. But this one, if I'm being honest, I want Tyson to go in there and destroy that kid. So.
Okay, if Tyson doesn't destroy this guy named Jake, what's it mean for like Jake's career? Because I kind of think this is just a little too fishy, man. Like he lost against one boxer, which was a decision. So it wasn't really like like he got crazy knocked out or anything.
Right.
So like one announcer said it best, and he got slammed on it by Jake. But it is kind of gimmicky fights. Like, why are we talking about
Paul's
Mike
fights
Tyson?
are always gimmicky fights.
Yeah, and then he's bounced back. Jake bounced back, saying like, "Oh, do you think Mike Tyson's gimmick? Like he's a gimmick?" And then kind of pissed Tyson off. But it's like, no, that's he knows what's up. Like all these fights are ridiculous. They're kind of like, if you're serious, get in this fucking, whatever the weight class and make it, get up there, and win the title.
Right. But that's not what Jake Paul's about. He's never going to be about that. He's all about like, look, I got a big enough name. I'm a YouTuber. And so that's how YouTubers work. Otherwise, he would make scripts and join network television, right? No, YouTubers are just like, I'll get famous enough from one thing and then use that to leverage everything else.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But now he's getting in the ring with somebody who did do that, who did fight his way up to the top and became unstoppable. And this was going to be one of those kind of like throwaway fights, whatever. But then Mike got it on the books. This is going to be an official fight now. So Jake Paul's got to play by the rules. And, I don't even think Jake Paul's got a chance. I've been watching the training videos like most people, of course. And Jake looks like a clown compared to what Mike Tyson's able to do still.
Yeah. Mike Tyson still has it. And it's still scary to see that guy swinging,
Holy, it's so fast and so compact. And it's just like, oh my God, how is he still that quick? Like, it's insane how fast he is.
Yeah. I mean, I see Jake Paul definitely increase his size because he does look bigger than I've seen. Maybe it's just a me thing, but whatever. Oh, yeah. But I mean, Mike Tyson is still someone scary to mess with. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Did you watch their weigh-in?
A little bit.
Yeah. Jake Paul sitting there doing like the whole like the guns at him, like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson walks in there and he's like, just like, yeah, I'm gonna eat this kid, and then turns away. That's the most badass thing you can do. That's the thing a winner is gonna do, right?
Now, speaking of this, but on more of the streaming side. Yeah. So a while ago, Netflix, I believe, and I forgot what it was, but maybe it was it was like the first time they did something live, didn't do so well. I think it was
golfing, I think.
You're right. And I think there was mess ups with like Love is Blind, like reunion live one. They had a mess up there. And that's something that's not obviously a massive impact. Or like if the NFL, right, is on Christmas, that's millions of viewers on one streaming service. So are we confident that Netflix can handle that? If I'm watching this fight and then it blacks out in the middle of nowhere, I'm pissed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
So what do you think that
they should be good at it, right? I mean, like streaming service wise,
times now.
But they're the OGs of streaming services. They should have the best service in town. I understand they're not used to doing it live.
Yeah.
But like they should have the infrastructure still in place.
Yeah.
And so if they need to hire somebody who used to work at Prime or whatever, because I think Prime's NFL games are fantastically done.
Yeah.
I really like them. We're able to change the announcers and stuff like that. It's really cool. So if they need to do that, so be it. But you cannot mess, like, let's be honest, nobody gives a shit about the golf game that didn't go out well, yeah. But you mess up this Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, you're going to get some calls.
I mean, I definitely heard this Love is Blind reunion to kind of fucking up. So,
yeah.
But my thing is like, okay, that's just a reality show reunion thing at the end. This is a fight that millions are going to tune into. And you said, do you have the infrastructure or not? Because unlike a football game where there's pauses between plays, goodness gracious, if it blacked out for a quick like 30 seconds and it comes back on and like Jake Paul's on the floor, uproar, right?
One of
like
Tyson's later fights, I remember us paying when I was a kid, paying for the pay-per-view. That's the thing. That's the reason I wanted to do so well. Is I remember watching Mike Tyson as a kid the whole time.
Yeah. I did watch that ear bitten off and live.
Yeah, I remember watching that one too. Of course. Oh, no
That's
way.
crazy.
Dude, that was insane. Yeah. And like, it was like, oh, that's bullshit, Mike Tyson. But it was still like, man, Mike's crazy. You know, it's so gave to this lore. But yeah, one of the fights, like he knocked the guy out in like 90 seconds. So it was like, how much should we pay for this? For 90 seconds of entertainment? That's Mike though, you know?
So this helps though. Yeah, because that helps kind of block that, right? I mean, a lot of people have Netflix, let's be real. Now it's something like you could feel maybe even a new person more confident paying that $15 or whatever the startup thing is for a fight that you're scared of that might only last 90 seconds.
Well, are they going to, I don't know this yet. I can't imagine Netflix is going to do that for free. I think they're going to say like,
think we're charging
$50 for the fight. Yeah.
Oh man.
I bet.
That's crazy. I didn't even think that they would do that.
Frankly, as long as it's like under $300, I'm still buying that fight. And so,
okay, that's a big ass. Like, okay.
Come on over to my house because I'll get some pizzas and beers, and we're watching the fight.
Okay, and I'll split it with you in that case. I could do that. I could get down with that. Yeah.
I have a feeling that's what they're gonna do because, like, come on, you know. And so I'll get Jonathan, I'll get Daniel. We'll all watch the fight, and then if it's like 15 seconds of Mike just deleting him, or hey, Jake Paul could pull it out of nowhere, but I just don't think so. Yeah, that would be very interesting. We'll have to see how Netflix can handle the stream. Yeah. Over at Disney, we got confirmation of Agatha All Along as the title. So the thing that they're kind of doing, they even posted like some fake names and stuff like that. They're saying that Agatha's been messing the name. She's a reality manipulator, so that makes sense, you know, with her magic. Like she's been messing with the name the whole time. I personally think like, no, you guys have been shifting how you guys do things. You guys you're tightening up the ship a little bit. Yeah. Going for things that work. You didn't do that on purpose. It's just been you changed the name because you were screwing around the whole time. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I kind of agree with you, right? Because I think they're being more cautious with what they're doing with the Marvel because nothing has really been a hit for me with X-Men. But since then, I feel like honestly, WandaVision was like my favorite thing that's been in a while from that time frame from Wanda to X-Men. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're just being cautious. But let's talk about what are we expecting from this show? Are we going back to the WandaVision time and it's going to be kind of comedic with like her messing with Wanda and Vision? What are we thinking about? With the name of
Agatha All Along? No, because we know that it's going to be after the events of WandaVision. We know that it's going to be Agatha discovering herself again, like Wanda did.
Okay.
Yeah, because Wanda put her into like where she thinks she's actually the neighbor. Okay. So we know it's that, and we know it's going to be like the old wizards fighting type thing, or not wizards, the old witches. Like it's going to be bringing in some of that old school lore. So I'm excited for it just because I did like WandaVision so much, and I did Catherine Hahn's unbeatable. So
yeah. Okay. Because watching like a teaser of it, whatever, she's like there, kind of making light, making a little funny with things that she messed around with. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, nor did I really look into this, or whatever. Yeah. I like to go into things blindly anyway. But okay, so do you think it jumps to a grander scale? Are we seeing maybe like something of Agatha going to a movie thing? Okay.
I still hope it stays kind of contained. Like even with how WandaVision ended, with like White Vision was revealed. It was like, that's going to be big at some point. But then he flew off to like, okay, he's doing a movie thing somewhere else. Let's stick back to this little town. I'm hoping it does that because WandaVision was great, but I think most people would agree it was best before it got too big. When Wanda is literally fighting Agatha like with a big runes, it was dope. But it was like, man, I really liked it. I was trying to figure out what was going on with all these sitcoms. That was really cool.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, phenomenal.
So hopefully they kind of do that as well, and like we're still trying to solve this mystery. I think that would be neat.
Yeah.
And then the other things they just kind of confirmed, Daredevil Born Again. They showed off the title for that. Ironheart's still in production. They showed off the title for that. Same old. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot coming out of Daredevil. A lot with Punisher being involved. So that looks really cool. Looks how they look. Obviously, he looks Punisher bloodied up and stuff. So I like how we're keeping it
rated R.
Yeah. Keeping it like that.
Like we've mentioned it in the past, but Daredevil, and to a degree Deadpool as well, but Daredevil for sure is the show that they put the brakes on. Bob Iger came back in. We've already mentioned this before, but Bob Iger came back in, and Kevin Feige took a look at it and said, like, no, we're going to Ant-Man Quantumanium. Let's go back to Avengers 1 and tighten this thing up a little bit, rewrite the script, and clean it all up. And then immediately got Foggy and Karen back, immediately got Punisher on board. It sounds like Jessica Jones is on set. Like, okay. Boom, boom, boom. That's good stuff. So
all right. Yeah.
I have high hopes for Daredevil and Deadpool.
Yeah, and I think you said it like also with the series of Agatha, like keeping it contained, right? I think with the Ant-Man, quantum stuff, time jumping, and whatever the fuck, it's just getting too much, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to just go back to, hey, if I'm watching, let's just say something random, Captain America, it's Captain America. Now, would I like a nod? Obviously, with this new Captain America, we got the Red Hulk and stuff like that. Like, that's badass, but keeping it in the lane of a Captain America story and not just having the whole Avengers pop out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, like Civil War probably should have been an actual Avengers movie, not that kind of took away from a Captain America movie, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Lastly, for the Disney stuff, Shogun has gotten 2 more seasons, which means they're expanding past the book.
Wow.
So I think that's a really good sign for the show.
Oh man, are you caught up on that?
Oh, I finished it already. Are you watching it?
Fuck. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah.
How far are you?
Not very.
Okay. I think once you
sometimes
finish
I keep playing. Are you watching the English or Japanese?
I actually watched it in both for a while there, and then I ended up just doing.
I keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm eating or whatever, it has to be in English, and then I'll go back and
I will say though, at the end of it, I felt like, man, I really wish there was more of this to kind of explain what was going on more. So I think this is best for the show that they did do more of it. And then last of the upfronts, let's talk about Prime, and probably the most exciting thing really is we are getting a live action Spider-Man noir, and it's going to be starring Nicolas Cage. That's just like a hodgepodge of greatness there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Every time I see Nicolas Cage or in a superhero movie, I'm still thinking Ghost Rider. Like, can we get him back?
I don't hate that idea too. Yeah, I like Ghost Rider. The first one. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. What do you
it's going to be weird to imagine. Nicolas Cage is older. Like, how's he going to Spider-Man around? So I think it's going to be more on the noir side. Yeah.
Do you think it'll be gritty, or do you think it'll be, I don't know, what's the tone of this when you see noir?
It's got to be gritty. I mean, noir. Right? It's got to be like an old detective story with him drinking a thing of whiskey and talking to a dame. I'm assuming it's all that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's how the comic book is for. Like, whenever you see this character in the comic books, it's like always raining. It's always dark outside. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it feels. It's interesting that it's going to be on Prime, so I'm curious to.
Which is, that is weird because it's a Sony-owned property. For them to do that is odd. It also reminds me, the other superhero thing that Nicolas Cage did is he was in Kick-Ass. Remember, he was the dad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Prime seems to like spend money on their show, so I mean that's a plus, right? Compared to what potentially, hopefully, this is way clear from Madame Web. So.
Right. And I mean, let's think of the 2 things that they do superhero wise. Invincible, fantastic. And The Boys, fantastic. So I trust them with the CGI, like with The Boys and stuff like that. Yeah. I trust them with storytelling. I think we're okay.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Last bits there. We had a new Rings of Power trailer. I put it on the website. We're basically getting a clear look at who Sauron in Sauron form, basically. And then we have a confirmed new Tomb Raider adaptation from Phoebe Waller-Bridge. This is going to be a TV series for Tomb Raider. So I think that's pretty good. That's everything from Upfronts, guys. If there's anything else that we missed, let us know. But I think those are kind of the cool ones. It has been more industry focused this year than it has in the last few years. All right, we are moving on to Assassin's Creed Shadows. We watched the trailer where we're going to be in Japan this time, feudal Japan.
Which has been asked about forever.
Yeah. Is this what you've been waiting for in the Assassin's Creed?
Well, what I've been waiting for in the Assassin's Creed is more of going back to the Creed. Okay. And that's what I want. And I know they did that just recently. But I had such a sour taste beforehand. So I didn't get my hands on the last one. What was the last one? Oh my gosh.
Valhalla?
Went back to nope. After that.
Mirage?
Mirage. Yes. I didn't because I had such a sour taste with Valhalla. Have you played Mirage? I know you were really looking forward to that one, weren't you?
It's literally on my shelf. I have not played it yet.
Okay.
I want to finish Valhalla, and I haven't done that either.
I kind of wanted to get your input on what it was like hours wise. Valhalla is a beast, and it's so frustrating that I already spent like 20 something plus 30 hours in this thing, and I'm still like it feels like nowhere near.
For Mirage, it's supposed to be around 15 to 20 hours because it's a cheaper game.
Better. Yeah,
and it's the old school way things where it's not open world. It's like
Yeah. So it's tough for me. Valhalla is tough for me. Would I love to keep playing it? Yes, I would, but whatever. Now I'm hoping that's not the case with this one because I think a lot of people have expressed that before, how these games are just insane. But it looks like watching this trailer that we're going to get the best of both, and they found a way to do that properly. So where you get the stealth and the like real fast-paced combat, because Valhalla it's like I feel like I'm always just raiding shit, I'm jumping out there, I'm going out there with my crew, and we're just gonna like fuck this little area up. But I missed the stealth. Okay, and again, I'm speaking on not Mirage, right? I don't have experience with that, so I know they did a lot of that in there. But it looks like you got your stealth with the female, and then you got your pretty cool combat with the samurai. So that's fun, I think. Scene 2. My last thing, one of my favorite ones of Assassin's Creed was involving 2 different characters, kind of played the same style. Well, ish. It's been a while. Was Syndicate. So I'm like, okay, I really like that one.
I Syndicate's I skipped that one. I need to go back and play it.
Yeah, I really loved it. It's one of the few that I beat through. So I'm hoping that if it gives me those kind of vibes with the 2 characters, then I'm pretty excited about it.
It's amazing how much Unity put the brakes on my love for that franchise. I still like the franchise, but there was a time before Unity where I played every one of them, beat them all the way through, loved the story. Then Unity came around and it was like, holy cow, way to stop all my momentum in this franchise.
Yeah. But what a fucking beast of a how do you call it? Like, try to help me to think of a word, but
it's like, guys,
what
redemption.
Right? No, I was gonna say what oh, goodness gracious, it is late. But when you branch out, right? When it comes to the multiplayer and like working together to do a mission, one of my favorite things that I've ever done with you, which didn't last very long because the game was buggy as shit, was seeing you on a rooftop and I'm next to you and we customize a character. That was one of the coolest things in the Assassin's Creed franchise. And I was like, man, I really wish they would bring some type of multiplayer like that again, learn from it. Or I really enjoyed playing multiplayer Brotherhood, where multiple assassins, some of them look the same, but you make one wrong move and I kill you, and then I got you, bitch. Like I saw you running. Or the other one might be like you got the wrong person, like haha, motherfucker, I'm running out now. Something like that. I wish they would kind of focus a little bit on multiplayer because those were good, different type of feels of online play, right? It's
this seems like a game that could definitely meld that in, like a co-op kind of thing. Like, hey, let me jump in. I'll be the shinobi while you be the samurai or whatever. Like that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool, actually. Yeah. So while we do obviously have with the shinobi stealth like attacks and stuff like that, it's still a very open world game. And matter of fact, they said it's the same size as the Egypt Origins map, which was huge.
Okay.
So it's going to be more like Valhalla. And we already know, unfortunately, we've already seen like the stuff you could download beforehand, or the pre-purchase. And of course, it's like $130 for the big one. And some of the stuff you're getting are like day one additional missions for the DLC for the more money. So it's Ubisoft doing Ubisoft things.
Sounds Ubisoft, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to sit there and complain about something we already know about the company. It's like, oh yeah, EA came out. Guess what? There's no DLCs. That's what surprised me. But as for the actual gameplay itself, it's big, it's gorgeous. I do like that both these characters look like they play very differently. Naomi, the shinobi, clearly going to be a stealthy one or whatever. But Yasuki, and I'll go over his history here because he's actually a real character, a real person. Looks like a beast. He looks like the guys I hate when you fight in the games and you have to like disarm them first or get their shield away first before you do any damage. He looks like one of those guys, so that's gonna be fun. Let's dig into what I was going to dig into his history a little bit before we go forward, because I know a lot of people are asking about this character. He's definitely, he's a black man in Japan. He's going to stand out, right? So Yusuke's a real character, and Yasuke, I know I'm saying that wrong. I might say that wrong, but just a heads up, guys. There's a grand story about him. I have written the article about it. I've put all my sources in there, including the Smithsonian Magazine, Britannica, Tokyo Weekender, and more. There's 3 others. But the reason I want to be very clear about this is because a lot of what he is a legend now. He's a real person that existed, but like Johnny Appleseed for us, or John Henry or whatever. Like there's all these people that are like legendary. So, but yeah, he was born in 1555, and then he goes and he was sold into slavery. He eventually becomes a bodyguard for a guy that a Jesuit guy that comes to Japan in 1579. When he's here, he learns Japanese super fast. He's very smart, and he's over 6 feet tall. Even without the fact that the region has generally shorter people, at that time, that's crazy tall. So he's seen as a behemoth, which I like in Assassin's Creed. You can tell that's definitely how they see him. He's like this behemoth guy. He ends up joining with a leader, a general kind of guy. His name's Oda Nobunaga, and Oda sees like he first thinks his skin's actually dyed. He's like, "This is I don't understand. This is different," and he realizes he's not. But he's fascinated by the guy's stature, his incredible intelligence, and his fighting skills because he was a bodyguard, so he knew how to fight. He eventually recruits him and rises him through the ranks as a samurai. And so he stays by his side the entire time, and he's given a samurai ranking in a samurai's home. And then at this point, there's all kinds of legends about him. And the Japanese people really like him because he is considered a role model for the Japanese spirit, quote, like, oh, Japanese spirit isn't, or I'm sorry, not Japanese, a samurai spirit. It's not something you're born with. It's something you earn. Even an outsider can get it, that kind of thing. Eventually, after like a few years, Oda's overthrown. And that was in 1582. And Yakuza is gone. He's in the wind. Nobody knows where he went. So I think the game is going to take place after that event. And because people think he either went back home to Africa, he was killed with his master, or he just like lived his life hiding in Japan. So I think it would be dope if he lived his life hiding in Japan and we come across him in the game. And he's like this retired or kind of hiding bodyguard that used to work with one of the heads of the country. But yeah, I ended up writing an entire article about him, guys. It's super cool. He's the symbol for bravery, honor, and the samurai spirit in Japan. And there's all kinds of cool stuff about him over there. I think this is the first time you get to play as a real character. Am I wrong about that?
As a real character, I think you're right, because I know there's like I always like running into like real characters. Like in a mission or something like that. Like I think one of them had Benjamin Franklin in it, if I remember correctly.
Number 3 had Benjamin Franklin. In the Ezio storyline, you're working with Da Vinci. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah. So I like that, but yeah, I think you're right. This might be the first one. They did an anime about this as well.
Yes. On Netflix.
And you know what? And I'm not gonna like just praise it because it's the hot thing right now with Assassin's Creed. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. There was some elements I did like about it because it's bringing like real life story, but the villains that he's fighting kind of have like a certain power to them too. I was like, oh, that's really neat to mix like real life and like a fantasy with it. Never finished it because it never really like pulled me in after a couple episodes, but
I had never watched it. I didn't know it existed until I was doing the research for this. And I was like, oh shit, there's an anime. And then like you could tell it's Netflix's animation. Like, they do all their animes now, kind of that same animation.
Yeah.
So I was going to check it out, but I appreciate the heads up on that.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be grabbing this game. Probably not day one though, just because I've learned my lesson now with Ubisoft to let them get those bugs out first before I get my hands on that. Do you think you're going day one with this?
No, I haven't. After Valhalla, I told myself I wouldn't go day one on Assassin's Creed no longer. So yeah.
You gotta protect your wallet. You gotta play it smart.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We watched X-Men '97. The first season is done. Squeaks, we're going to start with you, man. What are your thoughts on this? Kind of give us a rundown of spoilers all the way, guys. So if you haven't watched it yet, you're nuts. Okay. But not a full rundown, but kind of like where we're at, the current status.
All right. So, goodness gracious, this is me trying to explain it as I watched my children, played around with them, trying to watch the show.
You have to explain the whole story, but basically where we started and where we're at now, basically.
All right, where we started. Xavier's dead. Where we ended? No, he's not. Okay. Yeah. No, I was kidding. Let's think about where we're at now. Magneto and Xavier. Okay. They're alive, right? If I remember correctly.
They're both alive, yeah. We don't know where Magneto's at, I believe.
Okay. Oh, because no, he's in the sand in the desert. Okay, I'm fucking this. I'm really.
Oh, he is in the desert. You're right. Yeah, he does. He helps.
So basically, the X-Men got disbanded, right? In different different times. Call it times. Okay, I was gonna say universe. With different times. Okay, so meaning season 2 might be a little hectic depending on how many stories are we gonna follow. Okay, so why they get disbanded? Because they ended up the town. I'm doing a fucking horrible job, by the way.
You really are. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
You do. You do.
Okay, let me do it. Let me do it. Okay. So yeah, we started off with the end of the original X-Men animated series, where everybody presumes Professor X is dead. We know that he went to space, but everybody thinks he's dead. And then through the events of the show, we went through the Madeline Pryor story so fast. We went through Storm losing her power and gaining them back. We got to see Mojo World again. We got the attack on Genosha, the massacre on Genosha, which it hit hard. Yeah. And we lost Gambit in those events. And so Gambit is dead now. But we eventually found out that Bastion was behind this, and he is a prime futuristic sentinel. We'll just go with that. But the show did change his origin story a little bit so that he was born near mutant-like so that he could have joined Xavier. Yeah. He openly attacks the X-Men. He changed a lot of humans into Sentinel Primes. It was a great fight. That was a 4-part story. It was fantastic ending. And in the ending, I think we got to see the best of all the X-Men, except for poor Wolverine, who's on the sidelines because he got mad.
Yeah.
But now we have them all at different times. We have the Summers that are in the future with, and they find Nathan's over there, but also there's, spoiler alert, their daughter's
crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'll explain that off camera. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah. Some of our X-Men are in the past, and they're there with young Apocalypse during his reign. Yeah, I know that's going to be crazy. But we're missing Morph. We're missing Wolverine.
Which is fine.
I love the two of those guys. But
Wolverine, yes. Morph, I think he's a fucking wasted character, and we'll talk about that soon.
Are you serious? Dude, how cool is Morph changing into Hulk and stuff?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Okay, now it was amazing to see Hulk, though. Morph is the shittiest X-Men in the series, and I say that because he's only there to tease you cameos. And that he ain't shit.
Totally fair that Morph is the cameo machine. I love the cameo machine.
I know that.
I'm sitting there like Psylocke. I'm going excited.
Even in the beginning, like Magic or whatever, Magic, she would pop up, and then obviously the Hulk in the end was fucking phenomenal. Yeah, but still, like this character is just there to tickle me a little bit,
I know, but I loved that. I liked the quick change. I liked how boom, Blob bounced up Wolverine. Like there was some cool moves.
Yeah.
So I liked the cameos. So that's where we're at right now. What were some of your favorite parts of the season, and why has it stuck so much? Like for me, I think the fact that I was a little bit not a fan of how fast the story was going, especially the Madeline Pryor. That's always my example. Like that was all in one episode. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that could have been a whole season, really. But I really liked how much I was invested in these characters all of a sudden. Yeah. Characters that I knew growing up, sure, but like now Gambit felt like he was being cheated on by Rogue, and Rogue, just wanted to touch somebody. Like you can't blame her. So there was so many complex layers to that. And the fact that Gambit died thinking that Rogue chose Magneto over him when she didn't, like, holy cow, this is a cartoon, right? What were some of your favorite parts?
I think my favorite part of overall is keeping that nostalgia, but making the stories deeper now. So us fans, we have a bigger understanding of what's just life, right? Mm-hmm. So to advance the stories, but still keep something that we love, it just hit a home run, really, right? Because like the Gambit thing, I thought the same thing. Like, fuck, man, he died when Rogue was trying to, tell him, differently how the situation changed. But with what I really like to of the story is how threatening things were. I'll back up a little bit. I did like the one episode storylines. I thought it was neat to see the next episode. It would be something totally fresh, but still have a little continuation, like the
Mojo World,
Jean Grey one.
Or that's true. Like that was all concise, but like the Mojo World one was like, it's a quick story. It's done. Let's go over to Storm and see how things are going with Storm and Forge.
Yeah. But some of my favorite moments, one of them was towards the end with the arc, was the humans turning into sentinels. I was like, man, this is some scary Walking Dead shit. Like,
body horror kind of too. Like the way they're like twisting into it. Like, damn.
Like, especially his mother, right? His mother in the bedroom that was doing that contortion shit. Yeah. But that one, like, it just hit me differently because I felt like, man, this is turning into like a horror thing than anything else. And then at the end when the new X-Men that Jubilee likes,
Sunspot.
Yeah, Sunspot, when his mother gave him away, essentially. I'm like, oh man, this show's just too deep.
Yeah, it is
too much. But even like at the end when like Cyclops and Jean Grey are sitting at the table talking to Cable.
Oh my god. I was like, I'm a grown ass man about to cry at this cartoon real fast.
My eyes and they shut the eyes. I'm like,
I was telling Thomas that gets me every time they do that. Whenever Jean Grey lets him see through his rig, like always gets me. I'm like, man, I love this damn stuff.
But character developing different ways also was what kept me into it, right? And the biggest one was I would say my favorite is Cyclops, but then even Magneto, given that chance of trying to do Xavier's work, right? And then fuck that, and then he did what he did at the end, which was, oh my god, to see Magneto right in his whole outfit again.
I know.
Tickle my nips, man.
But you have a really good point there. Cyclops, growing up, because everybody liked Wolverine. So I disliked Cyclops, and he shot lasers. Who cares? But right off the bat, right when you see him, he's like the first X-Men you see, and he's doing this little dashing around with his eyes.
Oh my god! It's like zoom, 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 zoom.
Immediately it told you like this ain't your old story no more. He is dope, and I think he had the most justified arc this entire time. He's worried about his son. Madeline Pryor just died. He did love her. Jean Grey came back. All kinds of things going on, and at the end, being able to say goodbye to his son. Cyclops was finally getting some justice. And Jean Grey, too, by the way. Jean Grey in the original series, she'd faint anytime something got too hard. And this time, she'd carry them. There were so many times where, you'd see Cyclops and Cable doing something, and she's the one bouncing everything off. She's like the best healer in a WoW game or something. Yeah, it was really cool to see everybody get their props. That being said, though, Wolverine, somebody who we normally see, he had one dope episode with him and Nightcrawler fighting and defending the mansion.
Oh, man, that was badass, wasn't it?
It was.
I got 6 raisins.
Okay. That was incredible, yeah. But nevertheless, he definitely felt like he was sidelined a little bit. I think they should have utilized him a little better. He was definitely used for the emotional punch. When Magneto pulled his medal off, which is something that happens in the comic books, it's literally the same panel as the final shot of the game. Or of the episode, that sucked. That felt painful. Yeah. So, and I remember when he first stabbed him, I was like, finally the duel's over. The comic book even says on the cover, finally he got that guy because he could never get there in time. And Magneto wasn't dead. And it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Do you think they did that on purpose with Wolverine and kind of sidelining him just to enhance these other characters, right? Because Wolverine was usually a lot of everybody's favorite.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think there's something there. And I think all of the next great story to tell about Wolverine is him without the metal, without the adamantium, and he's got the bone claws. So telling that story of trying to adjust who you are is the next thing for him. So you kind of don't really have a big story for him up until that point. You told a lot of good stories about him already.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, he didn't need any more spotlight. He's still everybody's favorites, and he's didn't do shit. Yeah. Nightcrawler, though, the Nightcrawler fight with him, but Nightcrawler in general, I was like, that's right, he's awesome. I forgot about that. So,
yeah. It does feel like each character was enhanced super nicely in this. Even Beast, I feel like he was there when it came to conversations.
Yeah.
But even he'll have his moments in fighting. You're like, man, fuck yeah, that's Beast. I think on the last one, I think
he took over as Sentinel, and he was the one smashing Bastion.
Yeah, and then towards the end, he did something where he just jumped through the air in the air and slashed something towards the end of the series.
The claws, they should the claws are shiny, like ting.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, fucking, you are badass, yeah, it's just each character was highlighted very well and had their moments.
Every character, yeah, right. Every character had their moments to highlight how good they are, but they also had a lot of good synergy throughout the show, something that was a theme throughout the whole thing, where you saw, like in the final episode, Jubilee throwing the fireworks, but also being like, bamfed around a lot with Nightcrawler, so it was coming from different angles. Or, it was throughout the entire thing, like I was saying earlier with Cable and Jean and stuff.
And that's even the beginning where like what was it? Wolverine riding on Gambit's back and then like was launched,
supercharging him exactly. Then using Morph to launch him up. The synergy was super dope, and the emotional arcs where you're rooting for Magneto of all people the entire time. When the classic line, Magneto was right, and you're like, oh yeah, that's comic book storyline. But then he was right to actually get trust humans.
Man, when he shut off all the power, I was like, man, what? Like he has that much power? And like that's crazy.
Oh yeah, and while doing a Spider-Man cameo too. So
yeah, what's okay? So
let's talk cameos
some more.
Yeah,
what was your thought when Magneto did his like big? I'm shutting off all electricity. Why though? With Spider-Man and
just
Omega,
showing Spider-Man in general. And Omega Red. Yeah. I think it's just showing like, hey, everybody that was in one of the, because we saw Captain America as well. Everybody that's been on X-Men animated series is still around. And there's a lot of fan demand now for Spider-Man 98. So that could be a thing that happens. I absolutely. I mean, after this, right? Yeah. So I think they're just showing that like, this is a full Marvel universe. It's not, God bless the MCU, but when Iron Man came out, it felt like he was the only person who had any powers, quote unquote. Yeah. Everybody else didn't have any powers. But no, this one, the X-Men are amongst the Avengers. Even like in the final episode, the power is out, and we see that like Doctor Strange is doing surgery by the light of his own magic and all these different things. Captain America and Iron Man are protecting the president and stuff. Yeah. Black Panther, T'Chaka, Black Panther, the dad, is sitting there like warning and stuff. So I really loved all that.
Let's see. Kind of going off topic, off a little bit. What is one of the cameos that popped up in the show that you feel like deserves a series?
Daredevil.
Just like this. Ooh, yeah, that'd be good.
When I saw Daredevil, not just Daredevil, but the fact that Cloak and Dagger came and defended him while he got out of the, because they knocked him through the window and he was getting up and Cloak and Dagger stopped to help him out. Yeah. I was like, yes, because then you can.
That's cool.
I feel like right now with the live action, you're so pigeon-toed into like making sure you make this like work with the live action vibe, but we could throw every street level Marvel character we want in a Daredevil series. Bring back Luke Cage. Who cares? Just grab a voice actor. Not the voice actors are awesome, but grab one. Boom, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this? And what would be your grade?
Oh man. Okay, so final thoughts. It's awesome to be in every single episode be hooked into something. Yep. I felt like honestly there wasn't a dull one.
I agree.
So with that being said, okay, nostalgia, deeper stories, highlights of characters. Man, to even at the end where there was multiple cases to worry about when it came to Magneto's now part. When Magneto was pulling some of the X-Men on his side, I was like, oh god.
Oh, I know when Rogan and Sunspot walked over, I was like, man, that's betrayal.
Man, but just
like
to have
each other,
right? And just to have the draw multiple stories at the last one. So you got the Magneto thing, you got the passionate thing, and then you got like which way do they go type thing, right?
Right.
My grade, man, it's hard to not give it a 10 out of 10.
I don't blame you if you did.
Yeah, and I have to because I don't remember watching this show and saying, I didn't really care for that. Again, I didn't really care for Morph because he's just like a cameo whore.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean like he never did anything that let's just say Morph wasn't like highlighted so much in an episode where it kind of just stalled for me or I didn't really care. Right. None of that happened. So it has to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Thomas did the same thing. Gave it a perfect score. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 only because I wish we didn't blow through so many good stories. I think we could have milked them a little bit more, gotten a little bit. And it's like, man, I can't believe the entire Genosha attack was in one episode. Yeah, it's like we're not going to visit that again. Oh man, we're passing it up. Yeah. So, but we had to do that because of the teaser that shows Apocalypse in present day picking up Gambit's car. hinting at the fact that he's coming back as one of the Four Horsemen. So things like that.
Do you think if it was, let's say Genosha in 2 episodes, do you think it would be as like strikes you as hard because it's all impactful? Like super like done in 1 minute?
So such a great point, man. Let's go back to the Madeline Pryor thing, which I think was the most rushed part of the show. Okay. And afterwards I was kind of like, I remember very much like, holy cow, what just happened? I can't believe you're watching it and you're like, wait, they're going to go attack her now? What, you're not going to wait till next episode? You know, they kept doing things. And then that fight with Madeline versus Magneto was incredible. Yeah. So that all happened in one episode. It was crazy. So yes, it was a roller coaster, that episode. But also I look back at it and I'm like, man, it's too bad we couldn't just like see them like prep for it more. I don't know. I guess that's the normal TV show viewer mind of myself that's like, oh, I expect it to be stretched out. When there's so many good X-Men stories. I mean, after Apocalypse, they can go to Onslaught. Like, there's so many good villains. You know, there's no reason to slow down. So I should just trust them.
Oh, sure. I do want to say the slap in the face. I talked about this before. The whole Jean Grey switch Rooney, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, when what is it, Mr. Sinister? Says like, I can tell you when you were switched.
I love it.
And she's like, no, but I'm in the back like, yes, please. What the fuck?
Just pop it out. And then like, hey, when Phoenix is pulling out all his DNA, pull his memories too. Like, why not just figure it out right there?
Man,
I'll leave you with one piece of DNA if you tell me when I became Phoenix or whatever.
I did kind of like how Jean Grey is now honing. It almost seems like honing like, hey, those are my memories too. And it's like, this is the life like I should just kind of be in, really, because this is all she remembers. And she feels like she said herself that she felt Nathan kicking. So it's almost like Nightcrawler telling her like, hey, maybe you really should just, you know,
and
jump
Cable,
in,
you can tell at the end, embraces that idea too. Like, you love me like a mother, and I should love you like a mother too.
Yeah,
or, you know,
like
a son.
But
and then touching on Nightcrawler, like the dude is incredible in fights and has the best like supportive speeches ever. And you know, the whole Catholic thing, I was such a sucker for it too. So it was like
when he was praying at the end, I was like, oh man, dude, like
I know, I was like, that's a real
so deep
prayer.
It is.
Holy cow!
Oh man, you know. So cool.
It's a good show, guys. I mean, 10 out of 10 is definitely worth it. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to remind you that we have the Patreon giveaway. All Patreon members are participating in that giveaway. You're going to be able to win the Snowball mic. My recommendation for this week is World of Warcraft put out a new patch. It's a lot of fun, especially for old players wanting to return, called Mists of Pandaria Remix. And it is just like them letting you be overpowered. And so it's been a lot of fun. I was going to do the review for that this week, but I haven't had time. And as you can tell, we're pretty long on the tooth. And then I want to remind you also that Furiosa is coming out this week. So I'm going to do a review for that day 1. And before that, over on Challenge Accepted, we're reviewing the last Mad Max movie. And I'm going to be reviewing on our website all the Mad Max movies. So it's Mad Max week for us. And I'm very happy with that. You got any recommendations?
Let's see. My recommendation would be... Let's see. What am I checking out right now? Man, I'm slacking so hard on everything.
Yeah, been busy.
Yeah, I mean, everything I'm doing is just so old. Like it. Yeah, no recommendations, unfortunately.
That's right.
I'm trying to catch up so bad. Like it's sad right now. It's sad.
My recommendation on Squeaks' behalf is to go watch the last Mad Max. Go watch that thing. It still freaking holds up so good. There we go.
Oh man.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you.